Oh, to the big midweek post-game. First Champions League week of the season. Liverpool, shock Atleti. In a way, Liverpool, is it a shock anymore? I don't know. It's what they do. They win the game in the dying embers. Oh, even true mentality monsters think, whoa, Liverpool are almost inhuman at this point. Harry Kane stomped all over Chelsea. One more time for old time's sake. Arsenal yesterday made Anne Hathaway's heart sore. Spurs fans, you deserve happiness too. Returning to Champions League glory for the first time since 2023. And by glory, I mean victory by way of a self-soiling own goal. Oh, we've just got the small measure of 144 games to watch until we get to the knockout round. This format of the Champions League, it's like an ultra marathon, and we're all getting runner's nipple. So to act as balm, for all of your appendages, it's a joy to welcome back from the Athletic, an amazing human being, European brain in a bottle, live from the Cotswolds. It's Mr. James Horncastle.
Hello, and apply me to your nipples.
I'm going to get you a mug that says that. I'm sending it right over to you. But holy crap, James, you know me. I'm 99% of my identity is as an Everton fan and really pretty dead inside. But objectively, that other 1%, I look at Liverpool fans. I'm like, can you name a fan base that has more delirious memory me? It looks so fun being a Liverpool fan.
Not at the moment. I don't think there is another fan base that gets to experience what they're experiencing. I remember when I used to live in Rome, one of the best pieces of graffiti I saw was "Ti amo come un gol al noventesimo," which is "I love you like a goal in stoppage time," because there's nothing like that kind of rush, and that's the way Italians express love. It's like a stoppage time winner. It's like Virgil van Dijk heading a corner into the back of the net to beat Atletico Madrid. That's what love is.
God, you know what? All I know as an Everton fan is the own goal in stoppage time. I don't, which is the opposite. It's what. There's a thin line between love and hate, is all I'll say, James. But the Champions League back. I know you live for Serie A, the football, the calcio of Italy. When the Champions League back in our loving arms, does it make life feel different for you?
Oh, it does, because the NBA had this catchphrase, but I think it applies more to the Champions League, which is it's where amazing happens all the time. And, I'm just so glad that usually when we do it live on Wednesday nights, it's the end of a Champions League match day. But no, we've got more Champions League tomorrow night. I love the fact that it's spread over 3 days. That's fantastic. We've got incredible matches tomorrow.
Why stop? Why stop at just 3 days? Why not make it 7 days a week, 52? That's just... I mean, now I'm starting to be a Super League conspiracy theorist, but bloody hell, I've got to get your thoughts on that. KDB returning to Manchester City. Who says the Champions League draw is fixed? Not this guy, but let's get to the football. Remember, James and I are not here alone. This is a Champions League reaction show, which means you, dear GFOPs, can be part of the ongoings. Ask us a question. Come and give us your view on anything about this week's Champions League rumbles. Just scan the QR code, top left of your screen. Get there into a Zoom with our producer, Tony. We'll get you set up to ask your question of James Horncastle and me. Also, slap your comments in the side. Give us a like. Subscribe to this YouTube. Come and be with us. Chat is humming. Teddy says, Liverpool can't keep getting away with this, can they? Right? Can they? Alex L, or is it Alex I? I always get those two Alexes mixed up. Say Liverpool is like Leverkusen under Xabi Alonso. Vertsy. That sounds like Royd Malenga. Then built on that joke and said Leverkusen. There'll be T-shirts made. K.M. Byrne says Rod should be fired up for the Merseyside derby. Everton may actually win on Saturday. It's a trap, K.M. Byrne, and I'm not falling for it. Liverpool 3, Atletico Madrid 2. Happy Alexander Isak Day, everybody. $171 million man's first glimpse in a red shirt. Liverpool started for a team who'd won their last 14 European group games at home. But this season, not really found the collective spirit, that cohesive sharpness. Despite that, perfect start to the season. One born of late goals. That's called Chekhov's gun. That is. All 4 of their games won in the league via a goal after the 80th minute. ... What could possibly happen next? It was joyous, really, seeing as they score late to score so bloody often early. 4 minutes in, Mo Salah thrashed a low-driven free kick from the corner of the area, going wide, I think, until it hit little Andy Robertson like a backboard, diverted past the frozen Oblak. 60th Premier League game for Andy Robertson. That man deserves joy, I got to be candid. But Liverpool, they have all the fun. And it would get worse for Atletico. Within 2 minutes, Mo Salah denied by that free kick. Exchange of 1-2 with Gravenberch, crowded with defenders. And most strikers in the modern game, James, would have fallen over in that tangle of legs and thought, I'm going to get a penalty here. Mo's just like, I'm going to get the goal, going to get the goal, going to get the goal. Assist and a goal for him. Just the seventh time a side has gone 2 goals ahead inside the opening 6 minutes. It felt so easy. I mean, it was all it. Isak debut, 2 goals in 6 minutes. And the other wonder of Anfield, Liverpool fan sitting too close to the on-field mic, screaming profanities. Liverpool had it all.
Yeah, those 2 early goals, you think, okay, this game is done already. Yeah, they can prepare for Rodgers' Everton at the weekend. But no, not this Liverpool. They just, just when you think they're done, they pull you back in. And, I love it. It's fantastic. I mean, you talked about Mo Salah there. Some people would go down, maybe look for a penalty, but no, not Mo. He's too honest. He's too strong. If anyone doubted or wondered, like, what are those abs for? What is that core strength for? It's to not go down in those situations. And
I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing to witness. I don't know if it's that he's too honest. I think it's that he's too bloody greedy. I mean, the statistics, the hunger, the desire. And by the way, I don't think Isak had more than a touch at that point. 2-0 up. What did you see in Isak in his first appearance? Around 60 minutes, I think 58, 59. Liverpool front line. Hard for a player to adapt to. They're no longer the alpha. Mo Salah's the alpha. He cuts inside. He shoots when he wants. And to boot, Isak, no doubt, short of match fitness. Not a lot in terms of any kind of a pre-season. What did you think of him today? Kind of floating around the left a lot.
Yeah, I think it's tricky for him, Rog, particularly considering the situation that he's had over the summer, the scrutiny that's been on him. And also just how well Ekitike has done, to the point where most people were asking towards the end of that transfer window, do they even need Alexander Isak? This is the question I will be posing to Richard Hughes and Billy Hogan tomorrow when I interview them. That's why I'm in the Cotswolds. So I'm on a panel with them. So I will.
The Liverpool, the director of football, and what is
the chief executive?
Yeah,
yes.
Chief executive. God
bless. Yeah, so they're
Boston,
coming down.
A Boston Red Sox boy made good. It's incredible, Billy Hogan.
Exactly. So, that will be one of the questions. Like, did you even need Alexander? I mean, look, Alexander is a first-class player, incredible first touch. When the ball is played in front of him as well, just makes it stick. But clearly, he's got to learn about his new teammates, chemistry, and that's only going to come with time. I do feel that Ekitike, though, as we saw in those first games for Liverpool, be it against Bournemouth, another 3-2, another late win, just his ability to come short, link the play, very silky. A lot of people are already making comparisons between Ekitike and Firmino. But with Alexander, I think it will take. It's naturally going to take time.
And by time, you mean until Saturday in the early morning game against Everton. I'm just like, I am not saying a word.
Incoming.
Yeah, I'm not saying a word. It's a trap. Got to credit Atleti. Didn't wilt. Tried to rumble back into the game with composure. A lot of work through Griezmann on the counter. I will say Liverpool, 4 Dutchmen in that starting 11. So tactically flexible. Ryan Gravenberch seems to play 3 positions at the same time. It's remarkable to witness. But then, right on the stroke of half-time, Giacomo Raspadori ran from deep, fed Llorente, popped the ball on the stretch through the legs of Canate, out of Alisson's grasp. Thought in the Premier League, Griezmann could have been said to be interfering with his view of play, but the goal was given. And in the moment, it did feel like a complexion chamber. Like a complexion change. I will say, what was fascinating, Liverpool conspired to miss chance after chance to put the game away. Cue the 81st minute. Atleti stormed down the left, shot deflected, off Canate, looped into the Anfield night sky, dropped 2-2 to Llorente again. Remember, this man had scored twice in 2020 as Atleti came back from 2-0 behind then to shot Liverpool at Anfield, boot them out the round of 16 stage. Here, he watched the ball drop forever. then volleyed it with power, took a deflection off McAllister's boot, which sent it looping over Alisson. And shock in the moment, James. Liverpool so capable. The results are incredible. But the Llorente goal showed again they are truly vulnerable and human.
They really are. And do you remember against Bournemouth, Rog, afterwards, we had Arne Slot basically coming out and saying, oh, Gravenberch didn't play today. And when Gravenberch comes back, this kind of helter-skelter, up and at them, really loose pinball kind of game that we're involved in, that's not going to happen anymore. Gravenberch will help us control everything. And instead, as you say, Gravenberch tonight was everywhere, playing multiple different positions. And there wasn't really that filter. There wasn't really that control. And again, that's why we get what we get with Liverpool, which is 7-goal thrillers that are decided in stoppage time.
It is. It's like watching Cocaine Bear football. And it is, I think, quite much. I love to think Gravenberch's going to be the one that gives us some control. And there he is doing like weird flicks over the heads of attackers. I think as the last man at the weekend. I love that man. He's incredible. Utterly incredible to watch play right now. But we're almost caught between two narratives in that second, James. Llorente doing Liverpool at Anfield. That was one narrative. And Liverpool winning late. Turned out to be the latter. 92nd minute. Soboslai, what a footballer. Perfect corner. Virgil from deep. Beating Lenormand to get his big, beautiful head to the ball from distance. Made it look close range the way he nodded it. Just with the touch of a tender lover into the corner. How do they do it, James? I just want to ask you. Is it tactical? Is it physical? Is it mental? Is it alchemy?
I think it's belief. And that is something that is so intangible. And, maybe that belief comes not only from winning the title last year, but Liverpool basically just saying, okay, we're going to announce a new striker today. And then 2 days pass and they're like, we're going to announce another new striker today. And there's just this belief within the club that we've got goals everywhere. Everywhere you look, there are just goals. And, that is an incredible thing for players to feel, for a crowd to feel. I'm pretty sure, I wasn't at Anfield tonight, but I'm pretty sure that people in the stands always felt that Liverpool were going to score, or we're going to create something that would lead to the situation that Van Dijk found himself in, because that's just this team. That's this group of players. There's maybe too much freedom about them, but you know what? This is what, whenever you're playing pickup football as a kid or, as a grown-up or whatever, these are the games you want to be a part of. They're high scoring. You score 2, we'll score 3. They're the best. They're the best days of your lives.
Yeah, it could be. It could be on Saturday. It could be we'll score none, you'll score 5, and it won't be so nice. But I do look at it. We had Mo Salah on. Was it last week? And I did ask him what psychological work they do that allows them collectively to rise up in the last minute. And he said they don't do collective work, but he's learned through experience. And this is life advice, young viewers. He said he's kind of learned that worrying, getting stressed, feeling that pressure doesn't actually do anything in life. It really, really doesn't. And he just says experience has taught him. He knows they will get that chance. And by God, when they get them, they take them. You're right, by the way. The thing that is incredible to me about this Liverpool team, when they do charge forward, Soboslai, Salah, Ekitike, now Isak, pretty well every single Liverpool player, apart from Frimpong, believes they're going to score.
Yeah. No, but one of the stories going into this Champions League phase was Liverpool have so many attackers. They're like, we can leave Federico Chiesa out of our Champions League squad. It's almost like we've got too many goals. We're overflowing with goals that we can leave the guy who won the European Championships with Italy a few years ago. We can leave him out because, we're fine without him. We've got Rio. We saw what Rio did at St. James's Park in stoppage time when they won. So I think, those experiences actually, Bournemouth at home, Newcastle away, they do create something where they do create a feeling within a team that, okay, Llorente scored again. He's going to name another dog Anfield, because that's what Llorente does. Remember, he scored 7 Champions League goals, 4 at Anfield. He's got a dog called Anfield. He's probably got a pack of dogs called Anfield now. And yet Liverpool don't mind. They're just like, yeah, okay, Marcus, whatever. We're just going to
Oh
score.
my God! If he had won it for Atleti, Marcus, I would have gotten you a dog with my own hands and let you call it Hill Dickinson, the name of the most beautiful historic. Come here, Hill Dickinson. Hill Dickinson, what are you doing? I love it. I'm going to do it. But that was that on this night again. Late Liverpool joy. Isak did a good hour. Mo Salah looks and feels more like Mo Salah again, just in time for his next game against, checks notes, Everton Bloody Football Club. We will talk more about that game in just a moment. But Lauren in the chat says, all I want is one easy win, Liverpool. Is that too much to ask? Lauren, you're so greedy. Sue says, my heart isn't physically strong enough to cope with this season's Liverpool. That is something that is the truth, and you should all consult your local GP. Tina Satana says, we're competing for 4 cups, so it's all hands on deck. Yeah, apart from little Chiesa, they're playing without their mascot. It's like the Georgia Bulldogs playing without their little hound. To Bavaria, Bayern Munich 3, Chelsea 1 in the Nicholas Jackson Memorial Derby. Chelsea back in the Champions League after a season out, not just back, but back as World Cup champions, whatever that is. Didn't start well, fell into a 2-0 hole. Elise, such a suave talent. I think a lot of Premier League teams see Michael Elise as one that got away, unlocked the right flank, lashed across. Chalobah could not recover in time to prevent himself from kneeing the ball in. It would soon be 2. Caicedo let Harry Kane get the wrong side of him. Overcame Went, drove home the penalty. 9 goals in 23 games against Chelsea at that point. He'd said before the game, he knows the Chelsea fans don't like him, but that would only motivate him more. That kind of talk is so very Harry Kane, James.
Yeah, he's so kind of matter of fact. He just doesn't let himself be really fazed by anything. He's quite plain speaking in that sense. I would love to think that Harry Kane, after giving these sort of very diplomatic answers, goes back to his hotel room or something and then just like screams in the mirror or something, or just like, sort of shouts expletives about whichever opponent or reporter fan base have basically come up with these kind of criticism questions or whatever. And Harry sort of gets on with his job, scores goals.
Just like with Shakespearean level poetry, you think he's just playing the nice, straight, simple guy, but when he gets back home, he just like comes out with genuinely Macbeth-worthy lines into the mirror.
Yeah,
or maybe he just says, "I effing hate them" when he's off camera. Who knows? We need a hot mic. Chelsea, God bless, did get themselves back into the game almost instantly. Who else? Cole Palmer, stunning goal, ran half the length of the field, head on a swivel. It's like seeing an elite wide receiver rumble through traffic. Exchange of 1-2 with gusto. My God, the finish, James, with the left opening up the body. Did the Italians have a word for it when the body shape is just so perfect and the finishing shot is just like, could take down the Death Star?
Postura eccezionale. It's like, that guy could not look any better. La bella figura. By all means, Cole, come play on it. Come play in Italy. Come walk the catwalk. I've seen Cole Palmer's fashion sort of publicity with Burberry. Why not? So just bring it on. Just Come
and live in Scott McTominay's shadow, baby. The much maligned Robert Sanchez, God bless him, kept Chelsea in it. 2 huge saves, one from Kane, another strong wrister from Mikel Elise. Didn't last. Harry Kane, who else? Again, a Premier League team's execution. A mistake, I think it was by Gusto, playing out at the back. Kane pounced, just a man you do not want to see in that position. I love that finish he does, where he really curves his body shape in an exaggerated fashion, going almost diagonal to the floor as he rolls the ball away from into the far corner. These numbers, James, 10 goals in his first 5 games this season, 27 goals and assists combined in 26 Champions League games for Bayern. It is a madness of calm, clinical consistency.
It is. That body shape you talk about, I know Harry Kane's a keen golfer, and he really seems to sort of just like put his hips into it. I could totally see him like at Augusta National. What a place. Being sort of having someone not critique, just marvel at his swing. And that's Harry Kane.
It is the same well-worn groove of a golf drive. His finishes, the body shape is so. I mean, it's almost like NBA, like his technical body shapes that he moves himself into.
Yeah,
It's muscle memory.
yeah, and he is. Although he missed a penalty against France at the World Cup in Qatar, you can see he has. I thought he was instrumental in England getting past penalty shootout or lifting that kind of hex that England had when they so often went out in penalty shootouts in my adolescence. And it was because he had this studied, tried and tested technique, that muscle memory that you talk about, where you could just see he trusted in his technique. He didn't let the moment get on top of him, wasn't overwhelmed by it. He just trusted in the practice that he'd put in. And that's Kane. And I think people take these numbers for granted,
That's exactly right.
They look at them and they think, Bundesliga, Bayern, the Bundesliga tax and all that sort of thing. But I followed this Bayern with company last year, and they were pretty flaky in the league phase. Whenever they came up against teams, you thought, this isn't the Bayern of Hansi Flick or Jupp Heynckes. It's not as good as the Bayerns of old. And yet his numbers, Bundesliga, Champions League, are incredible. And I doff my cap to Lord Kane.
Yeah, I think he's going to be. And we're all laughing about this. It's kind of a joke, a coda to any Kane interview. I think he is going to try and come into the NFL, and that kind of drilled kicking regimen that you need to be a clinical field goal kicker from 50. I can imagine this, and I think it's going to be magnificent.
Rog, I was in Miami or Hallandale Beach for weeks and weeks on end.
The Cotswolds of America.
The Cotswolds of America. Yeah, except there are 2 or 3 more machine gun ranges in Hallandale Beach than there are here in the Cotswolds. But Harry Kane, he was playing against Boca Juniors for Bayern at the Club World Cup. And he was in Dolphin Stadium or the Hard Rock Stadium. And he was asked exactly that about, maybe one day, do you see yourself here? And I think the question was asked, do you see yourself one day playing in MLS? But like him being in the Hard Rock Stadium and seeing all this Dolphin paraphernalia, I think he was thinking, yeah, I could see myself here, but in the NFL. And boy, do those Dolphins need him right now.
I think he's going to do the NFL first, and then he'll come. Then he'll come to MLS. He'll come. There's time for both. There's time for both when you're Harry Kane. I will say I did love watching Bayern fans enjoy themselves by booing Cucurella for the handball not given on a goal band shot at the last Euros, which saw the Germans knocked out by Spain. Cuckoo is just that kind of player. The fans just remember any opportunity to harangue him. One other magical moment today, defending champion PSG hosted the quite incredible, I love this team, Atalanta, and treated them with really the contempt that PSG seemed to hold for all Italian teams, James. It was a bare-ass spanking, 4-0. Opened the scoring within 133 seconds. Second goal from Kvaradona. If you've not seen it, find it. It was so emphatic, so sizzling. I love that little man. He is so transcendent, James, but somehow still feels underrated.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he has this ability, like if you watch his dribbling, which is obviously his art, and the frequency with which his feet move, like you talk about the fact that he's still underrated. It's almost like he's walking on water, and there are no ripples on that water as he walks across it. And that's Kvara. He's like someone who is extremely humble. He speaks a little bit of English, but it's very kind of staccato. It's quite abrupt. There's no fluency. The only fluency is in his football, and he lets his football do the talking. And I still think that it's Ballon d'Or week, isn't it? It's Ballon d'Or week, and like for me, this guy is good enough to win the Ballon d'Or. He was part of the Napoli. He was the difference in the Napoli team that won the league for the first time since someone called Diego Armando Maradona. 33 years. There was this feeling that no one could win it at Napoli without Maradona, and Cavaradona came and done it. and then came and done it. Wow, I'm proper East End there. And then he moves to
came and done it, didn't he?
He came and done it, didn't he?
Came and done it.
He went down to Paris, and then he PSG moves there in January, and they win the Champions League 4 or 5 months later for the first time in their history. I think Kvara is a man of destiny. Kvara, I would love to see his little Georgian fingerprints on that golden Ballon d'Or one day.
He's only gone and done it, isn't he?
He's only gone and done it, mate.
Let's whip around.
Going down to Tbilisi.
Tbilisi. I went there. I did. It's all right.
Those dumplings.
Yeah, I was going to say, those sausages are a bit... don't get me started. Let Mike on the accent is probably a 4 out of 10. So let's move on and whip around yesterday's happenings. James, Arsenal fans, rejoice. Your boys made a winning start to what they hope will be a long, long journey. Toiled in Madrid initially, in Bilbao initially, with 7 starters out. Lots of possession, little in the way of creativity and ambition. Really an old trope. But then a new one, strength in depth. On came Gabriel Martinelli, and Arteta said, I have impactors. I love that. Sounds like a teeth infection. People who take a second to score a goal, which was a slight exaggeration, Mikel, because it was actually 36 seconds before Martinelli was in behind, rolled home, freed by fellow substitute Leandro Trossard. Must have been a really sincerely lovely moment for Martinelli, who was embraced by his teammates with an incredible mix of joy and relief in equal measure. Gent's been the subject really of so much criticism internally. Within the fan base, real target for frustration, been replaced by Eze this season. I think the dude really deserved and needed that, James.
Yeah, and you know what? I identify with Martinelli as being the player where I thought Arsenal are on the right track. When they signed him, I was like, that is really smart scouting. Look at the player that they found there. A player who didn't have to go to another sort of European league before they signed him to basically check that he was good enough to play in Europe. They signed him raw. He made a real impact in those early years. And boy, did he make an impact in Bilbao the other night. And I think, you should never lose sight of that. There isn't a degree of entitlement as you get better and better as a club to think that the people who got you where you are, okay, we can discard them now. We need to upgrade on them. And instead, Martinelli showed, why he's still a Brazil starter. Carlo Ancelotti the other week played him in the 3-0 win against Chile. And when he didn't play him, they lost to Bolivia, albeit at altitude in La Paz. But Martinelli was not starting that game. He started against Chile and they won. So, maybe there's something, there's a bit of luck. There's a bit of intangible about Martinelli. It wasn't even the goal. It wasn't only the goal he scored. The work he did for that second goal.
Yeah, an assist. Goal and assist. By the way, I loved what you said about love the ones that got you there. That's why I'll never leave you, Beto. I'll never leave you. But he did. He set up the second. New Arsenal have depth. It was Trossard who finished, right? Options. But at the same time, there's romance to it. The Martinelli goal, the Martinelli assist. But this win really is what happens when one starting 11 from the Premier League costs, I think, $671 million. The other, the Spanish side, costs $40 million, which is less than the Tyler Dibbling for a whole side.
Yeah, and also it's not just $40 million. It's kind of like we are the Basque club that only signs Basque players. So that narrows our recruitment even more. That talent pool is even shallower. And so it's incredible just to see Athletic compete in the Champions League. It was the first time they played at San Mamés in the Champions League for 11 years. Mikel Arteta, a Basque himself, albeit one who came with their rivals, Real Sociedad, fulsome praise of the atmosphere. And you really saw first 15, 20 minutes there, it was difficult for Arsenal. I think Timber was talking about how they were losing so many of their duels. They just couldn't get anything going. It was really tough. But yeah, you do see the difference over the long term of that game, where a squad that's had the money spent on it that Arsenal has had, and Arteta talking about the depth. He was asked, those players that you brought on, Trossards and your Martinellis, is it like rugby in how you're managing your squad?
Yeah, it's starters and the finishers.
The stars and the finishers. But, what I like about that is, in rugby, I played rugby as a kid, they have 15 players instead of 11 in football. So I heard that question and I thought, wow, did Arsenal actually finish the game with 15 players rather than 11? But because it looked that way. And that's how it can look when you have players with that freshness, that penetration, that impact that Martinelli and Trossard gave, and kept another clean sheet. They're solid. Rog, we've seen every year over the last 3 years, Arsenal progressed, haven't they? Round of 16, quarterfinal, semi-final. Is this the year?
Don't do it, James. Don't bait these poor bastards. They suffer, man. Dream on, Arsenal fans. Don't let us bait you. Don't let us bait you. Tottenham won, Villarreal 0. Tottenham handed a gift on their Champions League return. Lucas Verbal cross routinely, only for the Villarreal goalkeeper. Luis Jr., I think, chose the moment to audition to be the next Manchester United goalkeeper. He dove to catch a cross, let it squirm backwards, completely diverted it into his own net. Spurs were sloppy, nervy. Thomas Frank's first ever Champions League game held on, sat deeper second half. Error-strewn, scrappy performance, but as Rascal Flatts sings about journeys, life is a highway. I'm going to drive it all night long. I don't know what that means either. Juventus scored twice in stoppage time. James, this must have been a moral victory for you Italian superiors, to draw in an 8-goal banger against Dortmund. 26-year-old Englishman Lloyd Kelly netted in the 96th minute. Former Cherry, Newcastle centre-back. Set the Champions League alight. Incredibly, I love this statistic. Last time Juventus played a 4-4 tie in the Champions League, it was 2002, also against a German team, Hamburg. And incredibly, both current managers, Dortmund's Niko Kovac and Juventus's Igor Tudor, even scored in that game. It's just layered history, James.
Yeah, talking about history, the Tudor era at Juventus, it's quite something to behold. I was in Turin at the weekend. I was there on Saturday when they beat Inter in the Derby d'Italia 4-3, and I thought no game will be better than that. There's no way Juve can do something similar. And instead, that 4-all, it's something that Juve's DNA is the 1-0 win. I always remember talking to Giorgio Chiellini and saying, whenever coaches have come to Juve and tried to do something different and want us to basically score more than the opposition, we feel really uncomfortable. We like to get our noses in front, be 1-0 up, and then we love that tension of just sort of like grinding out that win. I'm sure people who followed Italy or Juventus over the few years have seen Chiellini celebrating a goal line clearance as if he'd scored a goal. So this is not uncharted territory, but it's joyous. It's like Liverpool tonight. It's just like, I saw one of the best goals I've seen. Actually, I've seen some incredible goals this year, I must say. One from Mastrantuono in the Super Classico, River against Boca. We'll get to Mastrantuono and Real Madrid a little bit later, but that Adsic goal, stoppage time, Juventus Inter, and then two stoppage time goals for Juve against Dortmund as well. Ti amo come un gol al 90°. I love you like a goal in stoppage time.
I don't have a tattoo, but if I did, I'd get that tattooed on as a tramp stamp, I'm sure. But by the way, talking about Juventus being like an Italian Liverpool, shout out to Simicast, who's now at Roma, your beautiful Roma. Changed, I think, his Instagram bio to the Scouser in Italy is what it says, which I just love. Marseille, hard done to. Open the scoring against Real Madrid. Tim Weah, respect, became the first ever American to score at the vaunted Bernabeu. Really a Neil Armstrong-esque achievement. I love this quote. He said, "In 100 years, I didn't believe I'd play here. I grew up in Rosedale, New York, playing on a small turf pitch. Coming here was definitely a dream come true." Dude is leaving out a little bit of his Wikipedia, James. My friend, the great Zito, tweeted, "I feel like Tim Weah can't do this whole, I'm just a kid from a small town thing, considering his father's George Weah."
Yeah, his father being the only African Ballon d'Or winner scored one of the greatest goals in Serie A history, basically running from his own penalty area into Verona's penalty area and scoring. King George.
Yeah.
Just
Me? How did this happen? I don't
and
know
also,
how this happened.
and the great thing is, Rog, we're talking about George Weah, the footballer.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the president of Liberia, who's thankfully out of office by the time the current president of Liberia was in the Oval Office to speak to Donald Trump. And he said, "How do you speak such good English? Where did you learn this?" And he was like, "Liberia is an English-speaking nation." That's it.
Hey, it's a big world. It's a big
Yeah,
world.
it is.
I will say, Tim Weah, you got good genes, as they say, in the American Eagle industries. But Real Madrid were resilient. Excellent. Mbappé fired back with 2 penalties. Second in the 81st minute. One of the most ridiculous handball decisions I think you'll ever see awarded against a defender, executing a quite magical slide tackle. If that wasn't a natural arm position, tucked in by the side, I don't know what the handball rule is anymore. It was a very, let's just say, a very Madrid-y decision. And congratulations to Qarabag, who became the first ever Azerbaijani team to win in the Champions League. Benfica let slip an early 2-goal lead to lose 3-2 at home. Qarabag, from the old Azerbaijani linguistical roots, which I'm sure you know, James, it means black garden, which sounds just like an incredible Soul Asylum lost album. Qarabag, I find them to be so heartwarming, James. Just 12-time Azerbaijani Premier League winners. Real underdog tale of an ownership group being given $4.5 billion in construction contracts around Baku from the state's vast oil wealth to build a team as a regional status symbol. Well done, guys.
Yeah, good job, you. Good job, you.
It's heartwarming, isn't it?
No, and their coach has been their coach for 17 years. He's like the Sir Alex Ferguson or the Giroud of Azerbaijani football. And I'm so grateful to Qarabag, not only for this incredible comeback that they gave us on Tuesday night, incredible drama, but because they are effectively giving us Jose Mourinho back in the Champions League as the Benfica coach, because Benfica sacked Bruno Lage. We're thinking that Mourinho is going to come in, and what would his first game be in the Champions League in a few weeks' time? Benfica, Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, well done,
Absolute
Champions League script writers.
cinema.
By the way, this might be peak Jose Mourinho. Follow this one. He led Fenerbahce out of the Champions League, allowing Benfica to go through. Got sacked by Fenerbahce as a result. Pocketed, I think, around $11 million in severance. Then he only went and joined Benfica to play in the Champions League. The greatest thing the devil did is make human beings believe he didn't exist. That is that kind of thing. But it is lovely to have him back. Well done, Premier League scriptwriter. Before we get to your questions, we do have massive news just in for the Carabao Cup. Other cups are available. Where the championships, Qarabag Cup, probably they wish in the oil and construction industries. Championship Swansea, owned by Snoop Dogg, came back from 2-0 down to deny Big Ange Postecoglou his first win as Nottingham Forest manager. Forest went 2-0 up, only to see Swansea equalise in the 93rd minute and grabbed the winner via Ange's fellow Aussie, Cam Burgess, in the 97th minute. Really an incredible strike, I believe. Forest out of the Carabao Cup. Big Ange left to wait for that first win. Be a lot of frustrated mates and downward eye cast in the post-match press conference. They face Burnley this week. And yes, I know it was actually Tom Cochrane, was it, who sang "Life Is a Highway"? No. It was. I only like the Rascal Flatts version. I won't have any of that crap. Let's get into your questions. Reminder how it works on YouTube Live. Scan the QR code or take the old comment in the chat, which has been pinned, and click on it. Come into the Zoom with our producer Tony. He'll tell you all you need to know. You don't even have to put a shirt on. You won't appear on screen. Let's start with the great Ryan May. Tell us where you're from, Ryan, and what's your question for the great James Horncastle.
Hey, what's up, guys? Appreciate you having me. I'm from Toronto. I am a Liverpool fan, and I'm curious about so I have two things. Is this what these late comebacks that we're seeing consistently, first 5 games? Is it dark magic or is it good magic? Which side of the spectrum is this coming from? And the more actual pressing question, is this sustainable?
Wow, that is the Alchemist Handbook, James Horncastle. Is it dark magic or is it a good? How do we even know?
I spent an hour today watching a mentalist, which is, someone who doesn't really do magic, but basically pulls numbers or things out of your head with no tells, no rhyme, no reason. You can't explain it. My mind is still blown by it, but I enjoyed myself watching The Mentalist. I had a great time, and yeah, I enjoyed myself watching Liverpool 3 or 4 times so far this season. So, I mean, is it dark magic? No, because I think it makes us feel good. No, I don't see anything that is negative. It's not Madrid magic. It's not, sort of getting 2 penalties out of nowhere where you're just like, how have they done that? That's not good. It's feel good magic. So, is it sustainable? Probably not. Probably not. But the thing is, as I said earlier, they've got so many goals in this team. They've got so many options off the bench. They've got the belief that comes from winning a league championship when many people didn't think they could win the league. And so, I think it's not that this team is at the peak. It's this team has still got a core group that has won and achieved so much with Liverpool, with that freshness, that free-spiritedness that comes with the recruitment that they've done. And it's a potent, heady mix that may give you a bit of a hangover tomorrow, but you'll be talking about it for years to come.
I mean, I would say, first of all, to your question about dark magic or good magic, dark magic, I believe, I'm a bit out of my magic skills are a little rusty, but dark magic is malevolent, right? For malevolent intent. I'm an Everton fan, so I guess I meant to say, yeah, that's dark magic. I mean, it is. Ultimately, I do believe that football, particularly in our chaotic world, our dark world, is a force. It can be a true force of good and make you feel things, make you feel alive, make you feel connected, make you feel human emotion. So I'm kind of forced to say in this moment, it's good magic for you if you're a Liverpool fan. I mean, it's football for the force. It's magic for the force of good. I then got a little sidetracked while James was speaking and started to Google how mentalists do their crap. Mentalists don't possess actual mind-reading abilities. They use a combination of psychological techniques, hot techniques and cold techniques. I'm going to be Googling this afterwards. Observation, suggestion, misdirection, sometimes hidden props, James. So I'm going to get deep down the old how do mentalists do it wormhole and then pull it back. But back to your other question, Ryan. And I don't know if you are a Liverpool fan. I'd love to know your answer on the dark magic, the good magic in just 1 second, beautiful human being. But I'd say that I don't think it will last, but I don't think it has to last. I think the true definitional reality of Liverpool's season is about that front line and how they gel. I thought this was Wirtz's best game in a Liverpool shirt that I've seen. He seemed to have a confidence, seemed to have a GPS, he seemed to have a belief, seemed to enjoy being on the ball today. And he's going to be a great key as it takes time. It really does take time to understand the difference in time and space in the Premier League. I think he's going to recalibrate, and when he does, watch out. But that front line, again, when Mo came on, and I did ask him, he came on last year, Mo, and we talked to him about the front line, the front three he played with, and he gave this incredible, beautiful actually, analysis of exactly where Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez wanted the ball. Like one wanted it ahead of him to run onto, the other one wanted, he remembered even the exact foot that I think it was Darwin Núñez wanted it to be played to so he could blast it over the bar. And in my imagination. And I asked him, Ekitike, tell me about how you gel with him. And he said, that is a good question. We're still working on it. I still don't know. I love Mo. He's so bloody, I mean, to your thing, Mo is very honest, James. And so Mo is a brilliant man. He will work it out. Ekitike will work it out. They'll work it out with Isak. And I think once they do work it out, it will work out. It really, I don't want it to, but it will work out. I think once it does, you're not going to be worrying about the need for the late goals again. What do you think, Ryan? Good magic, bad magic?
Well, I'm the reason I even asked the question. I'm a Liverpool fan. It's obviously good magic from my end, but the reason I asked the question is because I'm in all these group chats with all my other footy fan friends and the Everton fans and the Arsenal fans. Sorry, and there's no other Everton fans. I don't know why I'm pandering to you with that. There's no Everton fans. The Arsenal fans, the United fans, the City fans, they all think it's dark magic. I am not a religious man, but I do believe that there is something beautiful looking over Liverpool this year, in the form of a number 20, and I think that's where we're gonna see the beauty of the game that you speak of.
You know
Flourish.
what? I just say that was beautifully said, Ryan. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for lulling me in and then giving me strays, as you joked about the Everton thing. But I do think it's going to be very poignant, the derby. That was Diogo's last goal that he scored for Liverpool, was to do us at Anfield last time. And so I think there'll be a real a sense of that renewed. I mean, just that renewed levels of emotion that we can't even fathom. That Liverpool are winning despite all of that mourning, which has made this a very different kind of pre-season, a unique and hopefully never to be repeated. But Godspeed. Thank you for coming on, you incredible human being. Let's go to a caller from Australia. It's the mighty Trevor. Tell us where you are in that great country, mate. And what's your question for King James Horncastle? You got to unmute, Big Trev.
There we go. Sorry about that, guys.
Trevor,
Yeah,
you Australians are terrible at unmuting, baby. Just as a nation. Where are you
Yeah,
in
no.
Australia? Where are you, baby?
I'm from Melbourne, actually. So I live in Victoria. Recently, actually moved from the United States.
You did. Where were you in the States?
Yeah, I lived in Florida, but I was a college athlete. So I was a soccer player over there in college. So I'm definitely in love with the sport, love with everything that America has going on in terms of growing the sport over there as well.
Yeah, what team? Just shout out your team in Florida.
Yeah, so I played for Southeastern University in Florida, which is kind of Central Florida. So it's a NAIA school, and I was lucky enough that I got a scholarship to play there. So yeah, shout out to the Fire.
Yeah, I was just looking, the SEU Fire. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Google your stats as you ask your question to James.
You're going to be seeing some stats of where I'm on my decline, that's for sure. Now, I transferred from a school up in Pennsylvania, originally up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Is it Trevor?
And then Pardon?
Are you Trevor Smith?
I am.
Is it son of Laurie and Gregory? Favorite team is Liverpool. What's with this?
I am, of course. Yeah, that kind of goes to my next question. That's for sure.
I'm going to put myself
What
on
are the
mute.
stats, Rog? What are the stats?
He's a midfielder, hometown Naples, Florida. Favorite team is
Yes,
Liverpool. Stats,
I am.
I'm there are no
No
statistics
stats,
available
no
for this
stats.
player.
That's after the MCL. That's after the MCL.
Oh, mate.
Naples, Florida. Home of Donna Summer. As well,
Oh,
you know.
mate. God. By the way, the Fire have a mascot, and its name is Scorch, which I just love. I love America. How's your fitness now? Just tell us now. How's your health? Are you back, baby?
Yeah, fitness is good. I ended
Good.
up coming back here, and then I played a little bit of some kind of like equivalent to maybe some Div 2, Div 3 soccer here, some semi-pro stuff as well.
Yeah.
But just kind of enjoying my time. As you probably can imagine, the college football arena can get pretty full on, so I'm definitely enjoying some time without the physical fitness tests, that's for sure.
I bet, mate. Height 6'1" if you're out there, scouts. But go on, what's your question?
Yeah, there you go.
Look, here he is. I'll make this bigger. Height 6'1". Go on, what's your question? What's your question, Trev?
Yeah, I've been obviously a lifelong supporter, as you know. But I'm looking at obviously our front four at the moment, and the big question at the moment is how we fit Ekitike, obviously Wirtz, Salah, as well as now obviously Alex. But keeping in mind, obviously we have the likes of, Cody coming off the bench as well. I'm just reflecting back onto our days when we were playing a little bit more compact in the sense of when we had the Fab Four. So we're looking at Coutinho, Mane, Salah, and obviously Firmino. I'm just saying, do you think that especially when we look at Wirtz and how he kind of rotates in between the spaces. Do you think that having an ability to keep it compact, to be able to include the front four, is something that we'll see going forward, and maybe something that Slot might try? Or do you think that he's pretty consistent in terms of how he wants to keep his formations?
Yeah, look, I think, Trevor, that with Wirtz, it's really interesting because Wirtz is, in some respects, replacing Trent. Because Trent was the creator, was the playmaker. But yeah, Trent's nominal position was to be the right back. And he would sometimes come into midfield, spray passes, create from there. And I think it's easier to have a player like lose the ball or get beaten out wide in Trent's position than it is in Florian's position. Because I think if you give the ball away where Florian does, or if you're light at the moment where Florian is, in the middle of the pitch, the penetration is much more dangerous. And I think that's something that Liverpool are still figuring out at the moment, having to adapt to, particularly in the midfield that plays behind Wirtz as well. And that is a massive change from your kind of center of gravity of creativity to come from, for a long, long time, the right side of your defense, if you want to call Trent that, to being a sort of classic number 10 or someone who plays off the left or being in those sort of central half spaces. I think that's where a lot of Liverpool's imbalance at the moment comes. And that's just something that they've got to figure out.
I will say the only thing I can add, and other than the school in Pittsburgh you attended was Geneva College, the Golden Tornadoes. 11 games,
It was
1 goal. Unbelievable, that goal, right? I hope that goal lives in your memory. That goal lives in your memory forever. The thing I admire about Liverpool, and it will be really interesting to speak to Richard Hughes about tomorrow, James, in all seriousness, is the profile of the players that they recruit. They're all incredibly tactically intelligent and fluid. Slot is a brilliant, brilliant man. And Isak arriving so late, Ekitike arriving relatively late, having that time to work with them, I have no doubt they will work it out. And I think there's going to be such a tactical fluidity to that front line, far more than the kind of conventional missionary position, front three that most teams have, where there's an alpha in the middle and 2 flank players. I think once they find that fluidity, it's going to be really, really, really a fascinating reality. You're a beautiful human being. We've got to have Owen on. He's been waiting for a long, long time, and I love this human being. Come on up, Owen. Tell us where you're from. What's your question?
Well, I'm from the island of Jersey, as opposed to the New Jersey, the old original place. And I've got a question. I think I'll get to it eventually. Bear with me, please, if you don't mind, because first I want to talk about something that is almost in danger of being forgotten, like Gregor Mendel's experiment with peas, and that's Juan Carlos Carcedo, who, you might ask, he's the manager of Paphos FC, who today got their first ever point in the Champions League. And the reason I want to talk about Juan Carlos Carcedo is that he's doing an amazing job. And he's my old student. I used to teach him English. And he used to be Unai Emery's old assistant before going into solo management a couple of years ago with the mighty Ibiza, with whom he had extremely good. He almost beat Atletico Madrid, actually, in the Spanish Cup. But then he for some reason, lost his job despite having a wonderful season where he almost got Ibiza to La Liga, excuse me for stuttering over my words. But then he took over at Paphos 3 seasons ago. First season, he won the Cup. Second season, he won the league and lost the cup final, but qualified for the Champions League in the 3rd season, which is this season, having beaten such monstrous teams as if I can even remember, Maccabi Tel Aviv, Dynamo Kiev, for example, and getting all the way to the Champions League. And after 25 minutes, they had a red card, and they were away in Greece.
Owen, I'm getting too excited listening to this. Can we save this for our other podcast, which is Paphos FC Today, which is where we do try and go down. I'm very into the P experiments. I got to be candid. Your school teaching is very interesting. The managers you have taught is very interesting. But I do want to ask you, like, what is your question for the great James? And we'll save the other stuff for our other podcast, Paphos FC Today.
Excuse me for waffling on. I'm getting too excited myself.
No, I'm enjoying this greatly. Go on.
Well, apart from, can someone please write a book about Juan Carlos Carcedo and his journey in football? My question is actually, I'm a Liverpool fan. My question is just very simply, actually to you, Rog. Do you know what's coming on at the derby? Because not only was Florian Wirtz amazing today, but I think the whole team was, despite losing 2 goals again. Liverpool are brilliant. I'm sorry, Rog.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how to answer that. There's a song by Will Oldham, an album, I See a Darkness. And that's all I can think about when I do think about Saturday. I hate the derby. A lot of people I know hate the derby. It just matters too much. It makes no sense. It's like we're not divided by geography. We're not divided by religion or whatever, class, as in like Boca River. It's just like a mess. So it does feel like a boxer going into the ring and just starting to punch himself in the face. And it matters so bloody much. I realise I've had so little happiness in my lifetime in derbies. That's the other thing that I've been musing about a lot as I go into this one. So I do, Will Oldham, I See a Darkness. Owen, I want to thank you. You're a noble and beautiful human being. Never have we had a question about old jersey, which I just love that notion. I do want to ask you very quickly before we get to the great Josh Youngerman to close off the show. Can you just tell me about the P experiment very succinctly, because you had me at P experiment.
Oh, well, this was, of course, the father of genetics, Mendel, Gregor Mendel, the Augustinian friar, who spent 30 years documenting the principles of heredity in peas, and then presented his 30-year work in front of a small group of naturalists who completely ignored him and met him with complete indifference. Like, what the hell is that? And silence.
That's amazing. What life? And my life is nothing compared to his life. 30 years to peas. It's just amazing. I went to a graveyard recently and it had like incredible people buried there. And there was someone that did incredible stuff with bees and honey. And she had like a bee on a tombstone, and right next was somebody who'd done something incredible in like the 1920s with corn and corn stalk. And I went, what would be on my gravestone? Just be like, so God bless whoever did the pea stuff. 30 years in peas. That is incredible. Owen, you're a beautiful human being. But here's another one, a great human being to take us home and close the show. It's the king. For some Arsenal talk, no doubt. Remind us where you're from. Joshua Youngerman.
I don't know how I follow that up.
I don't know what we just did. I'm
Present some peas. And,
yes, behold. James likes mentalists. James likes mentalists. So just do some.
A question about pea, apparently. That's what I need to ask. No. I'm doing good. I'm in Brooklyn. I wanted to ask. So I remember when James Horncastle, and the only way that he knows how, was consoling me after probably 5 Jack Daniels in after the loss to PSG, and telling me that it really Arsenal didn't. One of the things Arsenal lacked was that they didn't have enough sort of ball carriers and really great attacking options outside of the main striker, right? But my question is now, do you think we have those options? And do you think Arsenal are quite possibly maybe the deepest team in Europe? Because I think we really do have 2 players for each position. And I think especially when someone like Christian Mascara can put in such an amazing performance like he did, understudying for William Saliba, I'm not sure what other teams have this sort of quality of depth right now.
Yeah, no, completely agree, Josh. Like, to have Eze, Madueke, and then you can bring on your Martinellis, your Trossards. We forget even about injured Kai at the moment. When Kai comes back, as well. Alternatives up front. And then Mosquera, you're absolutely right. I mean, I thought he was, even though Arteta and some of the players yesterday were talking about how they lost a few too many duels in that first half, couldn't really get going. I thought Mosquera, of course, he's played in Bilbao before. He comes from La Liga. We're playing with Valencia. But still, for a player of that age to play with that poise, to come into that defense, and I think it's not only the depth that Arsenal have, what took them so far last year, and I think will take them far again this year, is the balance that they have at the moment, which not many teams do have, including Liverpool. That ability to basically just play lots of different ways, as Arteta said yesterday. They could play against long balls and very physical play. They could play against Athletic, basically going for them on the transition. They themselves could play against Athletic against the low block. They're just. It feels like this Arsenal team, sort of after going to university as undergraduates, after graduating, have done their MA, and they're now in sort of PhD territory. And I think that's where we're at with Arsenal. They are very well prepared for everything that can be thrown at them.
They're really stockpiled for a siege. I mean, with the Christian Norgard hasn't even got back from fitness again and isn't even being talked about in the depth chart. That's how ample is their bounty.
Yeah, no, it's and like I think did Arteta say yesterday that he thought Hincapi, who came in, he was like, he played the best 7 minutes I've seen from him so far.
That's amazing.
That's pretty much all we've seen from him so far, Miguel. So,
when you give me out the backhanded compliments, Josh Youngerman, I think you're in an incredible place, and it's really on. They've given Mikel Arteta everything he needs, and really
they were so good.
Yeah, man, and I wish you joy. I wish you happiness. They're my great non-Liverpool hope in every regard. Keep calling in, you beautiful human being. Keep being with us. Talking about incredible human beings, I do want to give a shout out to Christina Stotts of Joplin, Missouri, a regular on this show. Dropped in the Discord that she's survived a car accident a couple of years ago. She's done everything she can medically. She's about to go through. She wrote, I'm gonna have my right leg amputated. I hope it will help me have a better quality of life. I'm relying on the football and all of you to get through all of this in every regard. When you read that, reminder of what is really important tonight. We're sending you our huge love. You're a large part of this community, Christina Stotts, and I know there's hundreds of GFOPs who are sending you huge love tonight. That is it for today. We'll be back this Friday with a brand new episode of Men in Blazers Big Weekend Preview, BWP, looking at all this weekend's narrative, including the Merseyside derby. Call in your burning questions right now, 646-450-9472. It's one of only 2 phone numbers I can memorise other than my wife's. 646-450-9472. Oh, send us a video. It's right, you can appear on the show. The link to upload those videos is all over our socials. James Horncastle, you're an incredible human being. I've loved every single second with you. I think Alex L in the chat said, James Horncastle is the Pavarotti of football analysis.
Nessun Dorma, as he sang, although it's past 11 here, so some people will sleep, including myself.
Can you just give us one more time the graffiti on the wall?
Ti amo come un gol al 90°. Yeah, I love you like a goal in stoppage time, and we are into stoppage time, and I love you all.
This big love. James Horncastle, big love to all you GFOPs. We'll be back on Friday. Give us a bell. Courage.